And welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on ColumbusNewsTeam.com. Week 5, as we have in with us Craig Williams of the Columbus Discoverers. Craig, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be here again.
Glad you're here. How you doing this morning?
You know, it's been a good week of preparation and practice, and you know, it's a great morning. We're excited to get going this week.
We're looking forward to talking more about that. Before we do, we're going to talk about the game you had last week. You really ran into a buzzsaw, the best team you've played all year in number 4, Grand Island.
Going into that game, we knew we were up for a big challenge. And, you know, our kids, we talked to our kids about playing one-quarter games and having 4 different games throughout the game and trying to win that first quarter, and then once that quarter was over, going into the second quarter, try to win that second quarter, and it just didn't work out for us. You know, Grand Island's a big physical team. You know, right from the start, they stopped us on the 3 and out and came down and scored. You know, if you took some positives out of the game, our special teams played very well. We had some big returns on kick return. Our punt team was outstanding. You know, our kickoff team was outstanding. That's been a unit we've struggled on a little bit this year and we've worked hard on. But you know, it's when you run into a good football team, you got to play really well. And I don't know that we made a lot of mistakes. We just couldn't get any push up front, and they really whipped us up front on the offensive and defensive lines, and that makes for a long night when you lose both lines of scrimmage.
And again, the week prior you played Northeast, a team that liked to air it out, and the Islanders, again, a team that liked to throw the ball. You said your DBs, you know, they're not young anymore, or you're telling them, you know, you're juniors, seniors. Is that translating? Are you seeing improvement? I mean, since they're playing these very good receivers and passing teams, even though it may not be fun in the learning process.
Yeah, you know, it's we try to teach them through film. We try to teach them on the field. We try to teach them during the game. Yeah, we have seen some improvement. You know, we just have to eliminate those glaring mistakes, the ones that you know, we bite on a play fake and they get the ball over the top on us. And actually, Grand Island started the game getting the ball over the top of our DBs. You know, it wasn't a play fake, so it wasn't one of those mistakes. It was just a simple case that they had a very good receiver, and our DB took one misstep, and he was by him. So, you know, we are seeing improvements there, and our coaches are working hard with the guys, trying to get them to focus on their keys and not allow those plays to happen.
You said Grand Island just so powerful up front. Was it a situation where they were just bigger than you guys? Sometimes that's what you're going to run into in high school.
They were their D linemen and offensive linemen were bigger. They were a little bit stronger than us. You know, they're older than us. You know, they're starting a number of seniors up front, and you know, we got some sophomores and some juniors that we're putting out there. But again, we said last week that we're not gonna. We haven't said once this week about being a young football team anymore to our kids. You know, these guys know how to play, and they just got to go out and execute. And you know, it's just a case that you know, we told our coaches that, you know, you can run as hard as you can into a brick wall, but in the end of the day, it's still a brick wall. And if they're bigger and stronger than you, you do everything you can. You keep fighting throughout the game, and you try to do the best you can. And our kids did that for the most part. You know, and we just got to refocus for this week.
And just speak about the mentality of your team. You know, you're pretty much exactly at the halfway point of the regular season. There's 9 games. You've played 4, about to play your 5th. What are the kids like in practice now with 4 games gone?
Well, you know, we had a team meeting on Monday morning, and we decided to rededicate ourselves to an aggressive style of play. You know, we thought that we were a little bit tentative at times, especially in the skill positions against Grand Island, and we want to avoid any situation like that popping up again. Especially against some of these good teams that we've got coming up. So we decided to rededicate ourselves to aggression on the practice field. And I'll tell you what, we've had the best week of practice we've had all year. The kids were excited when we changed the style of practice to what we're doing now. They enjoy the drills we're doing. And you know, I just think back to yesterday's defensive team session, and you know, it looked like a game situation. I mean, and guys were out there flying around, really popping, really doing their jobs, their responsibilities, getting excited for each other, and it was very impressive to see, and it got us excited as coaches to see the kids responding, and you know, I think we took a big step forward the last 3 days in practice.
I was gonna say, that's a good sign though when you start doing more hitting and it excites your team more, even at the situation you guys are in with a younger team. other teams, may have gone the other way. So how do you feel that your kids responded and are excited by amping it up and getting aggressive in practice?
Yeah, it's not even the fact that we've done more hitting drills, because we haven't. We haven't done a single extra hitting drill this week. We've just done some competition drills to get the guys going, but it's carried over into the team session. When we do go a few plays live, then they are getting after it and they get a chance to tackle that. We're seeing that aggression come through just after 3 days of this style of practice. So, we're very impressed as the coaches to see the kids react like this and respond like this, because starting off 0-4 is not the ideal situation. Nobody wanted to start off 0-4, no matter what the challenges were for the year or how young you were. But to see the kids take those steps in the last 3 days has been very exciting.
And hopefully that will transition onto the field Friday night, where you play the Burke Bulldogs, a game you won last year. A young team, so you're seeing a lot of the same players coming up this year. What do you expect to see from them Friday night?
Well, their skill kids are some of the tallest, biggest kids that we've seen. They're wide receivers, they're DBs, and they got a running back that can really fly. So they got some athletes out there. But the biggest thing is defensively, we feel like they're a very aggressive football team, and they're going to step down in holes. They're going to read those guards when they pull, and they're going to fly. And so, you got to try to find something to balance, within your offense to balance a straight ahead type of run game, and use some play action to try to keep those linebackers maybe off balance a little bit. But defensively, we've got to eliminate the big play again. They are an explosive offense. They're 1-3 right now. They've lost to some very good football teams in Papio and Grand Island, and last week they lost to Omaha Central. Their one win is over the defending state champion Omaha North, and that was a 51-50 ball game in double overtime. So they're very explosive, and we've got to limit that and give our offense a chance.
All right, Coach. Well, as always, we're wishing you the best of luck on Friday. Hope you can grab that win.
Hey, thank you very much.
That wraps up this first segment of Coach's Corner with Coach Craig Williams as the Discoverers get ready to take on the Burke Bulldogs on Friday night. Stay with us. We'll be back with segment 2 with Lakeview head coach Kurt Frenzen. And welcome back to Coach's Corner on ColumbusNewsTeam.com, our second segment of Week 5 with Lakeview head coach Kurt Frenzen, back to 2-2, back at 500 after a win over Wayne. Coach, how you feeling?
Feeling really good. The kids really came out and played hard last week. We had a good game plan for them, and they came out and executed it to their best of their ability. I just feel good about where we're going with our team right now, and the kids are excited to keep the things rolling that we got going right now.
Well, Coach, last Friday night was Columbus News Team's featured game of the week, where we came out to the Hill and broadcast that game, and it was a good one. We were glad to be there. You came off number 10, Kearney Catholic, with a win. You were 1-2, and then grabbed the win on homecoming night. Just talk about what transpired there against the Blue Devils and what happened there. You grabbed that second win.
Well, they have a good football team. They could have very easily been 3-0. So for us to come in and get that victory that last week was a real nice thing for us. Wayne got off to a really good start against us. Got touchdown early against us here to take the lead. We came back and tried to do some things offensively and defensively. Getting a spark out early for us was Trey Shanks. He had a nice run down to their territory, which put us in scoring position. Unfortunate for us, we only settled for 3, but again, our special teams picked up the slack a little bit and were able to get 3 points for us there. But Wayne, again, they're just a nice football team that keep working hard and plugging away. But we came back with some really good plays like this one to Nick Dolezal, where we just had some nice hitch routes to keep them honest and have them play the underneath stuff. And then to come back with some play action like we did here in our bootleg with DJ off our jet sweep. DJ did a nice job. Dylan Johnson, our quarterback, getting in the end zone, employing within 14-10 there. And then the next thing we had to have, we just had a good spark out of defense. Trey Shanks not only doing it offensively but defensively, and just got to love the emotion that he plays with and the things he does on both sides of the ball. And then a big-time play for us to end the first half. Dylan Johnson sidestepped a couple guys and was able to get the ball loose on a vertical route to Trent Roth, and Trent did a great job of hauling it in. And those things are great, but we need to also be playing great defense, and we do here as well with Nick Dolezal getting an interception for us early in the second half, which set up a scoring opportunity for us. First play after that interception was a bootleg again, and this time DJ found Dakota Pro Rock on a corner route, and Dakota went up and got it, and then his quarterback wedge when we were close there. And again, I just like seeing our kids excited and playing with great emotion. And then we, again, the second half got going again with Trent Roth. Great run on our jet sweep here. Trent had a nice cut back here, made the safety miss. He was one-on-one with him. We were able to get a score there. Now, feeling really good at this point in time with the way we were going in the game. But Wayne, being the good football team that they are going to come right back, had a good kick return, and then came back here and got a score to make it interesting. But then we were able to seal the win and get it put away. DJ ran a quarterback counter off our jet sweep. So just a good job by our kids coming out and staying with it and executing. Just pleased with how they responded each and every time. They responded at the beginning of the game. We were down 14-3, came back to take a 16-14 lead into half. Then we kept plugging away in the second half, and when we got up a couple scores, they had a big kick return. We didn't get rattled by that, and they got a score off that. We settled in and were able to put the game away late. So they came out and took a 14-3 lead, and then we outscored them 34-7 the rest of the way. So I'm just pleased with how our kids responded last week, and they've been doing that all year, and the other night was not anything different.
Coming into the Wayne game, you get that win, you're back to 500, districts are now coming up. Mentality of your team coming off a 2-game winning streak now as you head into a challenging game.
Well, we're really excited about where we're at, you know, to be an 0-2 team going into those last 2 games. What is their mental state? You know, what's their psyche? You're always a little bit concerned, but they didn't blink, they didn't bat an eye, they got right back to work. And you know, and that's the nice thing about them. They're not concerned with the big picture necessarily. They're concerned about that week, and they know that week is a big piece of the puzzle as far as the big picture is concerned, and that will take care of itself. And I think our kids have done a great job of doing that this year.
Well, this week is Wahoo, a top 5 team. You're going to their place. What do you expect to see from the Warriors, and what do they bring?
Well, Wahoo plays extremely hard. They have very good athletes to go with their effort, but it starts and stops with their quarterback, and he does a great job of getting things going in the right direction for their offense. Now, their running backs are very talented, and the Stratman kid's a returning starter for them from last year. He's a tough kid, big, tough, strong runner. He'll make you pay for missed tackles, or if you go in high on a tackle, he's going to break that tackle and run over you. And then they've got, you know, just a lot of things that complement him at the other skills. But their quarterback, the Abbott kid, does a great job of just being a field commander and setting things. And the thing about him is he can throw every pass. But what, you know, their strength is probably their option game and their read option that they do. They run a veer series. They'll run a little read option, like I call power read. So we're going to have to be disciplined to make sure that we're taking care of our responsibilities defensively. Offensively, you know, we're just going to have to take care of the football and get first downs like we've done the last couple weeks. And we've capitalized when we've got the football for the most part, and we're going to have to continue to do that. And special teams, we're going to have to get a big play or two out of them. But the big thing for us is we got to continue to win the turnover battle. You know, we're plus on 3 or 4 of the last 2 games, and that's probably a bigger reason as any that we're 2-0 over the last 2 games.
All right, Coach. Well, as always, wishing you the best of luck Friday night when you travel to Wahoo and take on those guys.
Well, it's excited to get district play started. Everybody, you know, kind of has a new life in districts, and everybody starts undefeated. And our district just was named the other day in the paper as one of the toughest 2 districts in C1 football. You know, with 3 rated teams and ourselves, that we feel good about what the kind of squad we have. Scotus and both the Wahoo and Wahoo Newman and us in that district, and you throw 2 tough teams, well-coached teams in North Bend and David City, top to bottom. I feel like our district's, you know, dare you say it, an SEC type of district in C1 football. In our corner of the universe anyway, it feels like it's got that feel. And you know, Scotus is definitely that top-tier team right now. They're undefeated. Wahoo and Wahoo Newman both have a loss. We have a couple. But you look up and down our line, our district down the line, you feel like anything could happen any given week, and so that makes for an exciting part of the year, and it's going to come down to the wire, we think, in a lot of these games. So we just want to do our part at Lakeview at making this the most competitive district, most exciting district in C1 football.
Vikings looking to take down number 5, the Wahoo Warriors, with district play on the line. It'll be a big jump start if they grab that win. That's Friday night, and I'm Brandon Axmit. We'll wrap up this segment and move on to the Scotus Shamrocks and Tyler Linder right after this break. And welcome back to our third and final segment of Coach's Corner here on this Week 5 edition. The Scotus Shamrocks are our featured game of the week when they take on another local team and the David City Scouts. With me, as always, is head coach Tyler Linder for Scotus. How are you doing today, Coach?
Very well, thanks for having me.
We're going to talk football now, which is always a good thing. You guys came off another big win against number 3 Pierce. You traveled up there and took on the Blue Jays, won by 2 scores. What happened?
I think we handled them really well. I think our guys showed up and played really good football from the opening kickoff all the way to the final ticks of the game. So really impressed with what we were able to do last Friday night and come away with a victory at Pierce.
Yeah, you see, you had some great defensive efforts. There was the first of 3 picks on the night by you guys. What was going on for your defense? Was it something you keyed on?
Yeah, we knew that we were going to have to stop a very talented Pierce rushing attack, but we also had to be aggressive in the secondary. And so, we forced them to only, or we held them, to only 41 yards of rushing. And so they had to start throwing the ball around, and our secondary made some amazing plays. But on top of that, we also gave up some big plays. So it was kind of a push in the passing game. We gave up 14 points through the air, but I'm happy with the way that our defense stepped up and shut down the run.
You see that right there, a situation coming into this game. We talked about it last week, the smoke and mirrors that the Blue Jays run. You feel like your guys handled that pretty well and didn't give up too many big plays?
Yeah, I think we handled it really well. We lined up well for the most part to their kind of goofy formations, and I'm proud of the discipline that our guys showed, especially in the run game. Have to clear up some things through the air and in our pass defense, but overall pretty happy with our effort last Friday.
And you had some big runs. Not on that play there, but Bailey Pelster, as always, he ripped off a 30-plus yarder somewhere down in that second half. I mean, that's something you come to expect with your rushing offense. Yeah,
again, it's got to be very difficult for teams to match up to our personnel. You got some bruisers in the middle with Jake Boss and Marcus Dodson, but then you've got some speed guys like, Cole Harrington and Bailey Pelster on the outside. And so those guys are able to make plays in very critical situations. So I tip my hat to those guys, but I also have to give all the credit in the world to our coaching staff who puts those guys into good positions. Coach Jay Pellin, I think, called an excellent game offensively, which, and not taking anything away from those guys. They're a really, really good team, but we were able to do some nice things with our offensive game plan.
You see here, you gave up just a late touchdown right here, but final score 27-14, I believe. You were a little bit worried, too, about going up to Pierce in the away game and the atmosphere. How do you feel your guys handled that?
I think they handled it extremely well. Playing up at Pierce last week was a very fun environment. It's an intimidating environment, but it was their homecoming game. So there's a lot of people in the stands and a lot of a lot of attention on that game. That was, on paper, depending on what poll you were looking at, we were the number 2 team, and in one poll they were the number 3 team. So it was 2 versus 3, a homecoming atmosphere, and it was just a fun game to play in. And I think our kids noticed that right away getting up there, that this was going to be a special night. And so, they made a memory last Friday.
Now speaking about just the mentality of your team, you're 4-0. You knocked off 3 ranked teams with Boone Central, Newman Grove to open things up, with David City Aquinas in Class C2, and then just last week against Pierce. And now district play starts, and you begin with David City. But, your team's got to be feeling good. How is it at practice? What are you guys like sitting at 4-0 and knowing you've been battle-tested?
It feels really good. Our guys are starting to really get into a groove and start to understand one another, and they're really starting to put their faith and trust in this coaching staff. We as a coaching staff put them in awkward situations at times, and they're thriving in that. Where other teams with maybe younger players maybe wouldn't have that trust or that confidence. But a lot of our guys, especially our starters, have been playing at least a little bit of varsity football since they were sophomores. I'm talking about guys like Jake Boss, Marcus Dodson, Cole Harrington. A bunch of those guys, even our linemen, have been starting since they were sophomores. And so now that they're seniors, they really have this, this offense and defense down pat, and we can do a little bit of different things. And I think that's taken us a long way. And so our confidence is at an all-time high right now, but we also know that we have to show up and get to work against, a very, very good David City scout team.
And speaking of the district that begins, you have a very strong one, a lot of ranked teams in it. Just your thoughts as you enter district play. The Scouts, maybe not the strongest in the district, but you have the Wahoo Newman, also ranked teams, and Lakeview back up to 500 with 2-2 now after winning on Friday.
Yeah, we've got a great district, and I don't think we would want it any other way. I don't care what our record is. Our goal is always just to win our district, because if you win your district, you're in the playoffs. And so, there's a lot riding on it, and like you said, it's a tough district. I think every one of these opponents that we have coming up in the upcoming weeks are going to be a challenge in one way, shape, or form. I think David City does some things on the ground that make us a little bit on edge with our defense. But I think Wahoo Newman does great things defensively, and their option game is very, very good under Coach Turman. And so we've got some really talented teams that we've got to go up against the next couple weeks. So our goal is just to take it week by week, challenge by challenge, and get better each and every week.
All right, now looking forward to this weekend, Friday night against David City. You said they do some things on the ground, but just going a little bit more in depth, what do you expect to see from the Scouts, and how do you prepare for them? What do they bring, and who are their key players you got to look out for?
They're just really, they're a talented football team, and they do some things that will stress a defense like ours, which is a three-man front. They like to run a lot of Maryland eye and power formations where they're just going to try to run it right at you and establish a ground game and see who's tougher. And so, if there's one thing about David City High is that they've got the reputation of being a very tough team. They're not a team that's easy to move. They're not a team that's easily gonna, acquiesce and back out of the way. So we're gonna have to go right at them and stop them from coming right at us. So I'm really excited to see what they have, come Friday night. They've got some talented guys in their backfield, and their quarterback is efficient at running their offense. So I'm excited to see what happens Friday night.
All right, Coach. Well, we are as well. We'll be broadcasting it and wishing you the best of luck as always.
Yeah, appreciate it, Brandon. Thanks for having us.
Glad to have him. That wraps up Coach's Corner here, Week 5 edition. Again, the Scotus Shamrocks taking on the David City Scouts. Our live broadcast will be on ColumbusNewsTeam.com starting at 6:45 p.m. Be sure to check it out. I'm Brandon Axman. That's Coach Tyler Linder. And that wraps up Coach's Corner. We'll catch you next week.